Welcome to Novene C TV, and it's your girl Novene C. Thank you for listening to us today and watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Today I have a special guest with me. It's my girl Diane D. Usually, we have fun things to talk about on this show, but today we're going to be talking about something more serious. As you know, I lost my son's father, passed away some years ago to gun violence, and so I feel like it's my duty to talk to other people about that, and hopefully we can share our story and help other people who are going through some of the same thing. Some of the ways that I used to cope was posting on Facebook about my son's father. My girl that I went to high school with, she had reached out to me and let me know that the same thing happened to her child's father as well. And I didn't even know that. So it was people like her that like really helped me. Like, you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, when they reached out to me and then I know that other people are going through the same thing or have been going through it for a long time, really helped me. And it's funny because God works in mysterious ways, because I hadn't even spoke to Diane about having her on my show, but I wrote it in my book. I wrote it on
that's crazy.
February 3rd, 2323. I don't know how to like ask someone.
Right.
Can we talk about the most horrible thing?
It's not a fun topic to talk about.
Right.
And when you start talking about it and you go to that place, it's dark. It's a heavy topic.
Exactly. And so that's why like I'm a little anxious and everything, because this is our first time like publicly going like into detail and being emotional too on camera, which is rare for me.
Very rare for me. Yeah, very rare. I'm very private. And when it happened to me, this was back before social media. So, we didn't have that to at least like kind of help vent or cope with. We kind of had to do it by ourselves.
Right. Okay. So I don't even know if I really introduced her properly. I said her name. Yeah. So this is my girl. Like we met in high school or?
Yeah, high school, because we went to Vallejo.
Vallejo High, yeah. So we met in high school. So we've been friends for 3 years.
All right, 3 years.
and we've kept in touch throughout the years and stuff. And of course on social media we see each other. So like we know we both have 3 kids.
Right.
Well, grown-ups. We have 2 grown-ups and 1 young child.
One that thinks he's grown, right?
Right. So our kids are around like the same age, kind of. Okay. So now.
Right, the deep stuff.
The deep stuff. Yeah, so today's topic is going to be about when your children loses a parent and the effects that it has on the children and you and basically, the family, like how much of a deep impact it has that you don't even realize that it could have,
Yeah.
So let's start by asking. We said you have 3 children, so let's go back to your relationship. So how long were you guys together?
So I was still in high school when we met, and we were together less than 4 years when it all happened.
4 years. And what's his name? I'm sorry. We have to say his name.
Yeah, Jericho Hayes.
Jericho Hayes. So you and Jericho Hayes were together, and you had...
So we had 2 kids. So our son and then our daughter, she was actually 13 days old when it happened. So imagine just having a baby, a newborn baby, and then that happening. So you're going through postpartum, and then you have to process the grief of losing a loved one, and that's not easy. So I think me and my daughter, we didn't get off to such a good start, because I did go into like this depression, and because I didn't know how to cope.
Exactly.
Especially back then. This happened in 96. So right out of high school, a few years after high school, although you think you're grown, you're really not grown. Right. I was 21.
Right.
Barely 21
right.
When this happened. And so not having anybody to really like tell you need to go to therapy. I didn't go to therapy.
Right. Because back then that wasn't even normal.
No.
Like now it's more normal.
Yeah. Now people were like, go to therapy, talk about it. Back then it was like, no, don't talk about it. But I will say, if it wasn't for his family and their support and my family, And my friends, I think I probably would have had a nervous breakdown.
Right.
Dealing with all that, by myself, and then still trying to figure out how to be a mom to a newborn and a toddler, because our son wasn't even 3 yet.
Yeah, so first of all, I can't even imagine all that at 21 years old with 2 babies.
Yeah.
And then trying to deal with grief.
Right.
Trying to raise your kids. Like you said, postpartum.
Yeah.
You're young.
Yeah.
And then you guys were together, so I'm assuming you guys lived together.
Yep, we lived together, and it happened when he had just got off work, came home. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, that night, it's been 27 years, but that night I could give you a play-by-play of when he called me to say he was on his way home to when I heard, the gunshots and I seen him on the ground, and just that whole night. No matter what I do or how I might try to not really forget about it, but try to not think about it too much, I could tell you what I was wearing. I could tell you what he was wearing, what our kids were, what was on TV, play by play.
Yeah. So, and I also want you to know, share as much or as little as you feel comfortable. I don't want you to be too overwhelmed, or, some stuff might just be private. You might not want everybody to know. If I ask you something and you don't want to answer it, of course.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
But, I'll try to be respectful of you and him and your kids.
Yeah.
So you said you heard the gunshots and you saw him.
Yeah, well, when I heard the shots, when I realized what they were, I looked out the window first because we lived on the second story, and I seen the car in the carport. So
he made it all the way home, parked.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, that's great. Well, where's Rico at? So then I opened the door, and I looked down the stairs, and I seen him. That's when I seen him. And the neighbor was outside, and he was, yelling to call 911. So I did. Ran downstairs, held him. Then the neighbor was like, he knew I just had a baby. So the neighbor was like, go back upstairs. It's cold. It was January 13th.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Middle of winter, it's cold. Just had a baby. So he's like, go upstairs. The ambulance came and took him. And that was it.
Okay. Wow. So I know you can never get that out of your head.
No, it's one of those things, no matter, like I said, no matter what, no matter how much time goes by, I remember it play by play. And I was in denial that night, thinking, no, they just made a mistake. It couldn't be, those things don't happen to people like us.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? No.
Right. Especially he just came home from work.
He just came home from work. We just had a baby. Like, no, that's not going to happen.
Was he conscious when you were down there holding him?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
He wasn't.
Okay. Sorry, this is a lot because I'm seeing it in my head too as you're saying it. But I feel like that was a blessing for him to have you there. You know what I'm saying? And hold him.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't conscious, he still sees and knows.
Yeah.
For him, I feel like that was a good thing.
Yeah. Kind
of even maybe for you because I don't know how to rationalize that, but you know what I'm saying? Because you can kind of be like,
yeah, like
there's nothing you can do. You know what I'm saying? And you know that.
Yeah.
Because maybe if you weren't there, you might think, I could have did this, I could have done that. But knowing the situation, there was nothing that you could do. You did everything right. You did everything that you were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
But even at that time, you're like in denial. And then you're like, did I do everything? Because you're so, in that moment, your adrenaline's go, and you don't know what you should be doing.
Right. And you're not a doctor or a nurse.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? That you did everything that you could have done. So that's just a lot. So at this time, your little one, your oldest one was 3 or almost 3?
Yeah, he was almost, because it was January. His birthday is in March. So
he
was almost 3. And then we had our 13-day-old daughter.
But did your baby know what was going on, your son?
No, I mean, I don't think he did. He was watching Jurassic Park, and he was laying on the couch, waiting for his dad to come home. And when the shots rang out, if you've never been that close to gunshots, they're super loud and deafening. Like it was like firecrackers in your house, so loud, right by you. So he was so still and just focused on the TV, and he didn't move. He was just laying there. And, imagine a toddler just laying there. So I don't know if he sensed something.
Right.
But he didn't move. And when I went downstairs to, tend to his dad, when I came back upstairs, he was still in the same place. So I don't know.
Right, because he never does that, right? Like
no, that's what I'm saying. Imagine a toddler just sitting still.
Right. Especially when mommy goes outside, they want to know what mommy's doing.
Right,
yeah.
That's rare. So
after the ambulance and stuff come, they take him to the hospital.
Yeah, take him to the hospital, and then his dad. Well, this is his stepdad, but his dad raised him because his biological dad passed away when he was young.
Wow.
So his dad picked me up, and I was thinking, like, why are we driving so slow? Like, why are we not doing 90 to get to the hospital? But, hindsight is because Rico had already passed, and, they felt like, well, there's no rush to get Diane to the hospital. She just had a baby. And so they was looking out for me. But at the time, you're not understanding that. You're like, why are we going so slow?
Right.
So we get to the hospital, and his family's there, and it was just a mess. I mean, emotions all over the place.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to your children. At what point did your son realize Daddy wasn't coming back home?
I mean, I'm not sure when we actually told him. A lot of that after, even the funeral, I was in a daze. Mm-hmm. I was in the days leading up to it. Afterwards, I remember, because he has another son who is only a few months older than our son. Yeah. So, but we always had them. Okay, so they were close.
Yeah.
So I still remember the sight of the two boys at their dad's coffin. Just kind of walking, playing around. Didn't really know what was going on. They're so young. Yeah. So I don't really know when they understood. So what I had to do was just tell them, like, their dad was, with the stars, because I was told, like, you have to give kids something that they can understand.
Right.
So and the stars are so far, it was something that my dad's way up there.
Right.
That they could relate to, I guess.
Right. I can relate when you said that you were in a daze, though, right? Because after my son's father passed, I didn't feel like myself.
Yeah.
Until I think it was like 10 months later.
Yeah.
10 months. It took me like 10 months to feel normal. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. And like the first 3 weeks after he passed, like my stomach, I just felt something in my stomach for 3 weeks. It was weird.
Sick, huh?
It was just like, I never felt like that before.
Right.
And see, my son was 8 when his father passed. He understood death because 2 years prior, my grandparents passed away, and he was always around them. But me and him were in the room when my grandfather passed. Oh, wow. So he saw Gramps pass away, and then he knew that, he wasn't going to see him again. So at 6, he already knew what death,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
when his father passed away, when we told him that his father passed away, he totally understood.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know if that's easier or not.
Either way, it's messed up.
Yeah.
Right? So, because he's a child.
Yep.
And then when that happens, it's like, I feel like their happiness and innocence is robbed.
Yeah.
Right? Like the people who kill people.
Right.
Rob the family.
Yes. That's what people don't understand. It's the people left behind that are left to suffer.
Right. Because that person is gone. Mm-hmm. That person, for me, I feel everybody, we're spirits, so we move on.
Yes.
We're still around, we're energy.
Yeah.
So they're free from this body.
Right.
And we're left to suffer.
Yep.
And I do feel like it's suffering, especially as a parent. Usually as parents, we always make our kids feel better.
Yes.
Especially the mommies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that happens to them, we make it feel better. They get hurt, we kiss it, they're fine. You know what I'm saying? Anything that happens to the kid, we can hug it out and make them feel better. When their father gets murdered, we can't make them feel better.
Nope.
There's nothing we can do to make them feel better.
Right.
Like my son, he didn't laugh for a long time.
Wow.
And he was a goofy kid. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at pictures before his father passed, he was always the one making faces in the picture and all that stuff.
Right.
And then after that, like when we have family pictures, he's crying or something. Or like when we're here having, because we're big on family, our family is real close, Thanksgiving or birthday, whatever. It's a fun time because the family is here, and then he starts crying because he starts thinking, I miss my dad.
Yeah.
And so
kids don't know how to deal with emotions.
Right. Yeah. We don't even know how to deal with emotions.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm still learning. Yeah.
So I can't imagine being that young trying to process that. Yeah. And that's what like makes me so mad at murderers. Because you know what I'm saying? It's like you killed them, but you killed us too.
Yeah.
Kinda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Part of us.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're making our life super hard because now we have to try to do extra stuff to try to make our kids not be depressed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, you're right. Because I think I kind of overcompensated because that's what you do. You want to make your kids feel better. You want to take away their pain. So what do? You try to do everything you can to do that, and a lot of times I did overcompensate because of that.
Right.
But there is no making up for that loss, no matter what.
Right. I didn't want my son to have anger as a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause I know some people whose father gets murdered, they get angry, and then they might make poor choices. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make sure that my son didn't do that.
Yeah.
And the time that it happened, you know, he did go to counseling for a while, but he didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And they told me I couldn't force him because I was trying to force him. They told me I couldn't force him, so then he decided to stop.
Right.
But I had to get counseling. Like I had to get counseling.
I wish back then someone told me you need to go to counseling. Like you need to go, or even try to make me go, but I didn't.
Right. But just in my life, as you know, like. You know, we grew up together around the same people. So in Vallejo, you know, we have a lot of loss. Like a lot of our friends, people that I went to school with, got killed, right? Or died in car accidents or whatever. So we know a lot of people who passed away, and not including like family members and stuff like that. So I always kind of just suppressed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, and like in 2014, 6 family members passed away in 10 months.
Oh, wow.
And I just shoved it down. So then when his father died, I was like, I can't. Now I have to deal with, because it's everything too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Everything in my past.
Right.
And so I couldn't even, like, I felt like I couldn't even function as a mother. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I had to seek help.
But I think that's why a lot of people don't go to therapy or counseling, because then you have to go into your other traumas. It's not just going to be about that specific trauma. It's everything else.
Right.
And sometimes you're just not ready.
Right.
Because you know when you go there, you have to go there.
Right. And it's hard. And then, because once you dig stuff up.
Yeah.
And then, like, you have to still try to find a happy place to be with your kids. Like,
right.
Because how are you going to raise your children sad and depressed?
You can't. And you know that saying when they say, like, oh, time heals all wounds. Time doesn't heal the wound. You just have to keep going.
Right.
Like, you're forced to keep moving.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to die.
Right.
So you have to keep living. And I think for me, his family, the support of his family, my family, and my best friends helped me to get through that time.
Right.
Without them, I don't know. I was still celebrating family traditions with his family, even after I got married.
Yeah.
I got married to my youngest son's father, and we were going to Rico's family house.
That's good.
Okay, to celebrate holidays.
That. Yeah.
That's how close his family was. I mean, to this day, they're still my family.
Right.
You know, we may not be as close anymore, but like our son told me when his aunt said, "Your mom did everything she could to make sure we knew, you guys, and that you guys grew up around us."
Right.
Because I would never pull my kids away from his family, knowing they suffered more of a loss than I did. That's their son, their brother, their cousin.
Right.
You know, so without their support, I think I probably would have had a nervous breakdown. And that's also my testimony about God. He brought, without him,
Right.
I for sure would have had a nervous breakdown.
Right.
So he really got me through that.
Right. Right. So you're blessed to have that, and that's good that you can see the good in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because and a lot of people also get mad at God. Did you have that time?
Oh, yeah, I did. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't.
Right.
I was angry because you go through, you know, when they say there's phases, the denial, the anger, I hit all of that. And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Right.
I was angry because I was so young. We just had a baby.
Right.
Like, how could you do this?
Right.
God, how could you do this?
Right.
So, but then I got over that because I was raised, you know, in church.
Right.
So I knew God. I knew that it wasn't. He didn't do it to hurt me, you know what I mean? So I had to get over that real quick. Right.
Like, what are some of the things that did you do with your kids to help deal with their trauma? Or like, what are some of the, first, before you answer that, what are some of the ways your children displayed, like, missing their father or grief? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't until they were older. Like, our daughter, she was only 13 days old.
Yeah.
They have, and this is sad. This is why I'm so like, take a picture.
Right.
There's only one picture of them together, you know, in the hospital when she first came home, because, you know, she was a newborn. Right. So you think you have all this time.
Right.
So that's their only picture, and she still has that picture. And she just, it wasn't until they're older when they start asking, you know, because she didn't know him.
Right.
Even though she knew his family, she didn't know him.
Right.
So my son, he has some memories, but not a lot. And it's really sad that that's how they have had to grow up.
Right.
And so when they became teenagers, missing out on their father being there, I think it impacted them a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I think especially for my son, had a lot of anger.
Yeah.
Not having his father because everybody else had a dad, you know, at the games.
Exactly.
And my son played basketball, you know, since he was little. So dads were coaching at the games, and he didn't have that.
Right.
I was there, but it's different.
Right.
You know?
Right. See, so since my son was 8, you know, he had time with his father, and he has some memories. Yeah. But he has a friend. His father passed when he was 5. They're the same age, same grade, and he doesn't remember much. So, you know, since they're so young, they're not going to remember that much.
Right.
My son, the same thing. So, like, he used to play basketball, and his father used to come to the basketball games. And so then after his father passed, that next year, you know, we tried to play basketball again at the same place. Yeah. And it was just so hard for my son. Like, he would cry, or he'll do like just different stuff. So like, I will always have to tell like his teachers or his coaches, like, oh, his father passed away. So like, if he's acting like this, it's because of that. Or if he's being quiet, or just start crying out of nowhere, or doesn't want to do something, you know. Right. And then luckily, so blessed, the coach that he had, Coach Jermaine, when I told him, and he's a young black guy in his 30s. He was such a sweetheart and so understanding and very loving towards my son. Mm-hmm. You know, some men are like real rough and stuff. Yeah. But he was very, like I said, loving towards my son. And one time, my son, we were going to the game, and he put on safety goggles to go. Uh-huh. So everybody's like, you know what I'm saying, kind of like, what's going on with this little dude? But Coach knew, you know what I'm saying. So Coach didn't make him feel like bad, stupid, or like what are you doing? Right. He just embraced them, like, come here. My son didn't want to play, so he's like, okay, come coach with me. You know what I'm saying? So he was just trying to make him feel included and make him feel good, and not let him stay in that, you know, dark place that he was in. And so later we realized that my son said it was too painful for him to play, especially at the same place as his dad. You know,
his dad was always there.
His dad used to be there. So he stopped playing basketball for a while, and that's why he just told you that he started back. He's 9th grade, but he didn't make the team. But he hadn't played since he was little, you know, because of the trauma. Right. You know, so it just affects people different ways. And also, he used to have like night terrors, so he would be crying in his sleep and stuff like that, and But then like when he woke up, he didn't know what he was dreaming about.
What he was dreaming about,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even if I wake him up right when he's crying, because I'd be like, Xavier, are you okay? Are you okay? And then I'm like, what's wrong, baby? Like, you know, what were you dreaming about? He was like, I don't know. You know,
Right.
He didn't remember. Yeah. It was just, it's just, and it's heartbreaking for us, you know, to try.
We can't solve it.
Right. And what, like, how do we help you? Like, what can we
Right.
do? We can hug you, love you, yes, and all that stuff, talk to you.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes he wants to talk about it, sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah.
And since my son was so young, I didn't tell him everything, you know, when it happened. So I'll tell you what happened with my son's father. So he was in another relationship. We weren't together anymore. And we had just got back like really cool. Like he was doing good. You know, we weren't always on good terms. And so we were just starting to be real cool. Like I was like, okay, he's doing good. He was being a good dad to my son. And like every holiday, he would always like give my son gifts and stuff. Like, you know, Valentine's Day, Easter, everything.
Okay.
And he'll get like everything. He'll get like buy him a toy. He'll make him a shirt because he's a make shirt. He'll make him a shirt. Uh-huh. He'll get him socks. He'll get him underwear.
Right.
He'll get him candy. He'll buy him a cake with his face on the cake. He was always spoiling him. And then like if they go to the mall, he's like getting them shoes. Like he spoiled the hell out of my son, right? Uh-huh. So he was doing good. I was like, okay. And then like if I tell him like little things like, oh, you should do this, you know, like parenting tips, he would listen. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, he's really trying. So so I said, oh man, we could probably be friends now, you know. And he was so like, you know, full of life and loud and laughing all the time or angry, you know what I'm saying? Either or. So he was like, you know, just a big personality, right? And so, and like the last time that we exchanged, because I dropped him off at the mall. And then he was like, you know, just acting goofy. So I just remember that him acting all goofy. Yeah. And I was like, boy, because he like kind of like did something like on the hood of my car. I was like, get out of my car, you know, just funny, right? Yeah. So I had that memory. And then he was supposed to come to my son's school. And this was going to be the first time because like I said, everything wasn't always good. Yeah. He was coming to my son's school for an assembly or something. My son was getting an award or something. I think that was on a Tuesday. And then he didn't show up that morning. Okay. And I called his phone and went to voicemail. And usually I would talk mess, like, but I didn't. Right. So I didn't talk mess, but I was like, that was just weird because, you know, he was excited about coming to my son's school and he didn't come. Right. And so anyway, later, actually I was on Facebook and somebody that we went to school with had put, like, pray for my brother. He got shot in the head or something like that. So I was looking like, oh, who's her brother, right? And I looked at her brother. I didn't know her brother. So I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, praying for you, right? I put that on her thing. Yeah. And so then later, because I didn't have Messenger on my phone. Okay. So I have to go on my computer to see messages. And then I saw that she messaged me, and she said, it was Tone, call me. And so then I called her, who's Tone? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you still didn't register.
Who's your brother? Like, I don't know her as his, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, who's your brother? Right. And so Tone, who's this Tone? Yeah. And so then when she told me, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Right. So I found out like that.
Like that. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so he had got shot the day before and was in the hospital. And so then I had to try to find out what hospital he was in. Because, you know, they don't tell you when somebody gets shot. Right. I remember calling my sister Jamila and telling her, because I was like nervous, pacing back and forth and didn't know what the hell to do. Yeah. So she's looking for stuff for me too on the other end. This was in 2016. It was May 2016. So she found out. Well, I was calling the hospitals, and of course, you know, they couldn't give any information. But then I think she told me that North Bay was a trauma hospital or something. Okay. I said I don't know if I found out he was. I don't know. I went to the hospital. I just know I went to the hospital. Oh, because somebody told me where ICU was, because I didn't know North Bay. Yeah. They told me where ICU was, so I went up there. But of course, you know, they can't tell you, and they won't let you in. And so I just stood out there, and when the door opened, I walked my happy ass, because I brought I brought my son's birth certificate to show. Yeah, we have a child together. I'm his family. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So I walked in the ICU, and I was just looking at every room, and then I fucking saw him.
God.
And so, like when I saw his legs, I knew that was him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like I said, he got shot in the head, so you know the trauma was just bad. And so I walk in the room, but then a nurse, she like jumped in in front of me to block me.
Wow.
She's like, you can't be here. You can't be here. I said, that's my, you know what I'm saying? That's my, we have a child together. Like, I'm, trying to show her my stuff. Like, nobody's here with him. Like, what the fuck? I said, he don't have no family. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm like desperate, like, let me in here.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And then she just started telling me that, because she saw, like, she was so compassionate. I wish I'd have known her name.
Nice.
She was compassionate.
Yeah, good.
I was crying. She was crying. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, like, nobody's in there. And I was like, Tony, like, talking to him so he can know that I'm here, you know what I'm saying? And then she said, well, he's in a medically induced coma, because we have to wait for the swelling to go down or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you can try again, when he's later. She said by Friday or something like that. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm coming. I was thinking I'm coming back Thursday. And so I just started telling her, I said, these are his kids' names. He has 4 sons. These are his kids' names, and I wrote them down. And I said, please, when you're in here, talk to him. Tell him to fight for his sons. I said, can you just please? And she said, I will.
Wow.
Yeah, she was so cool. Yeah. And so then when I turn around and walk away, I see that I was followed by 2 detectives. I didn't know. So like when I went to the ICU thing, I saw 2 people sitting there, but I just thought it was family for somebody, right? Yeah. So those ML, they followed me in. I know they was like, okay. But they were cool. Like, they didn't wrestle me to the ground or nothing. They were just like, you can't, they was just kind of like saying what she was saying, you can't be in here or whatever. I was like, okay, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm his family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's laying up here. Like, somebody need to be in here with him. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is some bull that he's by himself, basically. Then after that, his sister called me. And it's funny because I think a year or 2 before that, he was talking to his sister. He's like, man, Novene's tripping. Like, just talking to her. Like, can you call her and tell her, you know what I'm saying? So he had gave her my phone number. He wrote it on, and she had on the refrigerator the whole time. Okay. After it happened, like after I came from the hospital and all that stuff, that's when she called me. Okay. And so she said, like, there's a list. And so she said, she put me on it to make sure I can come see him. Okay. So that was it was crazy, like, how everything worked. Like, he left that number, you know what I'm saying? Right. Not knowing that she was going to need to call
it at some point. Right.
So I was thankful for that. And I was thankful that she put me on the list, because she could have been like, y'all not together. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I do remember him. We actually went to church together a few times. Really nice. And I don't know, maybe it was your son at the time. I don't know if he ever went with him, because I know a couple of times he had, a little boy with him. But
it could have been either one of his other sons or one of his nephews.
Oh, okay.
Because he used to have nephews, and he's Nika and Jean's uncle too, right?
Oh no, I didn't know that. Okay.
So sometimes he would have like Nika's daughters with them, or his son. I mean his nephew's kids.
Yeah. So when I knew him through church, and then when it happened, I was like, what? Who would want to shoot somebody? He was so nice. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I don't get, why people do make these decisions, make these choices to take other people's lives. It's nothing is ever that serious, right? Ever. And do they ever find out who?
Okay, so look, let me tell you this. So he was shot at home. Okay. So he was in another relationship, like I said. So the girlfriend had grown sons too, right? She had 2 grown sons and 1 teenager. Okay. So the sons lived in the main house, and then her and Tony stayed, like, they had like the in-law quarters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so he was found in between those 2. So basically, from what we gathered, he was shot in the head sometime during the night, and they called 911 at 5 a.m.
Who found him? The girlfriend, or? I mean, where was he? Where was she? What was?
They called 911 at 5 a.m. And so it was a miracle that he was still alive. Yeah. And that's what the surgeon said. The surgeon called him her miracle baby, because when he came in, he was in such bad shape that they thought he was going to pass. They didn't think he was going to make it. Yeah. So it's probably just doing the surgery for practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Oh, let's do this. But I believe that he survived because, he was so fit. He always worked out. He always rode bikes and all that stuff. And so I feel like, he was 46 at the time, in, good shape and stuff. So I think that saved him for a while, because he didn't die until a month later. Wow. So we had a month of, going to see him in the hospital and everything. Right. Of the police not doing investigations, because they said he should be able to tell us who shot him.
Wow.
Even though he was shot in the head and he could not talk.
Oh, wow.
And they even blamed him. He didn't tell us. Like they tried to say this in court, and I said, no. They try to tell us that to our face when we talk, because they have switched detectives. And I said, well, he was nonverbal, so how the hell was he gonna?
Yeah.
He couldn't talk. How was he gonna tell the detective?
Right.
Like we were his family. Like we were there, so we know the situation.
Yeah.
So he died June 27th, 2016. And so me and his niece Jasmine, we had went to go visit him. I was visiting before class. I had summer school, and so I would go there before class and stuff. And I didn't tell my son what happened. Right, I just told my son that your father was in an accident,
Okay.
or your father had an accident, something like that. I told him.
Okay.
So he's thinking, okay, he's cool, like he'll be
Right.
fine. And so I didn't take him because my son was 8. He was in the ICU, and gunshot wound. I'm not going to take my son to see that. It was traumatic for the
you.
grown-ups.
Yeah.
For his sisters, you know what I'm saying? The ones of us that saw it, because so anyway, it was just traumatic. So I wasn't going to have my son see him like that. I think a year and a half or 2 years later is when I got the call from the detective saying that they arrested the person that they said did it. So it's like right when you think you're okay, you're healing, life is getting a little bit easier. Now court.
Right. You got to relive everything.
Relive everything. See stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot. That's why I try to tell people, like when they say, oh, like they're, of course you want the person to get caught who did it and all that stuff, but that court is just a new thing.
I bet.
And then it brings up anger. Like I don't like being angry. And you know what I'm saying, having evil thoughts. I had all that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
All that.
Yeah.
And then you got to see the people.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I can't even imagine. And with Rico, his murder is still unsolved.
It's unsolved from 1996.
From 1996.
What time did it happen? What time at night?
This was like at 9 something at night.
Oh, not even real late.
No, it wasn't late because he had just got off work and he came straight home. Yeah, still fairly early. And they tore up my car, my house.
The police?
Because, stereotypical thought of a young black male, he got to be selling drugs or, doing something he's not supposed to be doing. And I didn't know this at the time, but they shouldn't have done that.
Right, it's illegal.
When I say tore up, I'm talking slashes through the top of the car, the seats, the couches, the mattress, looking for any drugs or money or whatever. I don't know.
This is the part that I really, really hate. Because instead of treating him as a victim, which he was, they treat him as a suspect.
Yeah.
They did the same thing. Well, not like that, but you know what I'm saying? They treated him as a suspect too.
Yeah.
Stereotyping. And then they're not even considering you that have the 2 babies. Because they're not going to pay for that.
No, they didn't. And what's crazy is I never went back to the apartment. My friends, their dudes packed everything up for me, put it in a storage, and it took me a couple years to actually get through it. Like figure out, you got to open boxes and, so from that night, I actually did go back.
I don't see how you could.
Yeah.
Have you been back there?
It actually took me a few years to go back to that place, but I never went back to the actual apartment.
Yeah.
I had somebody I was picking up that lived over there, and I was like,
oh my God.
you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
how was that? Like
that. And I couldn't tell the person. I couldn't say anything to her. I think it was like a coworker or something.
I could have. I'd be like, girl, you got to meet me down the street.
Yeah, I mean, it was, right. It was just one of those like, oh my God, here I am, in this same place, and all the little flashbacks happen. But you just get through it. What do you do? And that's the hard part is I suppress a lot of things.
Right.
You suppress, and then
that's not healthy for us, honey.
It's not. But I've learned that, and that's kind of how I started. Meditating. I started getting into crystals.
And crystals.
Like that. Yeah, with especially my favorite is rose quartz. It's not even about love though. It's not even about like love from other people. It's self-love, because you got to do some inner healing for yourself.
You have to. You have to. So. And we have to we have to be kind to ourselves and gentle. Yeah. Because we're not, right? No. We're not. We like the world is beating us up, and then we're beating ourselves up. Like we have to, like that's what I'm trying to do now with myself. Have more grace for myself. Yeah. Be more gentle. Right. Be kind. Right. And chill. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes if I don't want to do nothing, I'm not doing shit. Right. Like I'm gonna lay in the damn bed all day. Yeah.
And I'm still learning how to do that, and I realize that's a trauma response. Staying busy all the time. Yeah. Because if you're not busy, you have to deal with emotions and thoughts.
You got to think about it.
So if you're on the go, and that's how I can function. Right. From sun up to sundown, you will not it's hard for you to catch me just chilling or by myself. Right. Because then I have to be with my own thoughts.
Right. I'm chilling. No, because so when he passed away, that's what I did. I stopped because I was going to college, right? I was going to Solano. Like I said, 2014, lost all those family members. Still going to school. When that happened, I was like, I have to stop, because now it's not only me, it's my son. Yeah. So I have to make sure he's okay. Yeah. I can't ignore him. Yeah. I can ignore my stuff, but I can't ignore him. So I had to sit down. So I stopped. I took a year off. I was, like I said, doing the counseling. My big thing with him was traveling. Like, we still do that. Like, let's get out of here. Yeah. And try to get some joy. It's where you don't have to think about the stuff that we have going on at home. Right. You know what I'm saying? Let's go outside. Let's go to the beach. Right. He loves water. So we're beach. Like, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go here. Let's go there. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things that I did more with him after his father passed. Okay. Because I felt like traveling and getting out of our routine helped him mentally. Help healing. Yeah. For me, I was so young, I did total opposite. I actually went hardcore partying and doing all that, to the point where his family did an intervention. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much they cared about me. I was about to say, they love you.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, awesome. But at the time, you're like, what? Leave me alone. I'm grown, right? But no, I was doing too much. Yeah. And they were like, no. Yeah. Like, so they didn't want to see me go down that road.
I love them.
Right? Yeah. So he has a really good family. You know, I really do appreciate them for that. And continuing to love, my kids.
Of course, that's an extension of him. Like that I feel like that would just make them seem more closer to him. Right. Through your kids,
Yeah. But I think that was healing for me too. I try to hold on to them for, like I said, when I got married, like we go on to
this is our family.
But it wasn't until like a few years later, then I was like, okay, out of respect for the married life and my husband at the time,
we still going over there.
So we had to do our own. We started our own family traditions, right? Because you kind of like then we had a baby. Right. Oh, so then you're like, okay, we're gonna start doing our own. But I was still like, okay, I'm gonna do evening with them, and so and that happened for years. So I have a lot of love for the Hayes Johnson family.
That's awesome.
Always,
I love it, and I'm glad you said their names because that's important.
Yes,
so, people need to know, seriously.
And even his ex-wife, her and I are super close. Yeah, I mean, of course, it wasn't always that way, right? Yeah. But just keeping it real. But no, her and I, she would go to my kids' games. Like, she was super supportive because they were like really, really heavy into sports. Yeah. She was there. She still, my grown son, or my 30-year-old, when is his next game? Right. So she's still, and the grandkids.
The grandkids are hers too. Yeah.
Love her to death. So
that's how for me, that's how it's supposed to be. We grew up like that. So my mom is my dad's second wife. Okay. And so my dad is married to his third wife now. They've been together 30-something years. Okay. But my dad's first wife was always at our house. Like Susie, like we were just looking at pictures yesterday that my mom's cousin in Kentucky, well, she lives in Georgia now, but our family in Louisville, Kentucky, in their family photo album, she sent me pictures of when we were little and in the crest. And then my mom, and it was my mom and Susie, my dad's first wife. And I was telling Jamila, I said, look, Susie, she was always there.
She was all,
I don't know if you know my brother Dan. That's his mom, but
Okay.
he's our brother.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
right.
Because that's my brother's mother's. That's my
Yeah.
brother's mother, and then she had a child. So any child of her, that's still
Right, that's
we're all
still your-
family.
yeah, exactly.
And so like Thanksgiving, it would be my dad's first wife, my mom, and my dad's current wife. We're all together, and all the kids, because it's all about the children.
Right.
So
yeah.
we're all family. So then we're all family. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what gets me about like co-parenting. Parents that don't want to, or the new wife or the new whatever or husband, they don't want to have nothing to do with the.
We're family.
Yeah, that's like that. Right.
So when I get married, we family.
Right. It's a hell, but that's how you keep that's how kids, they grow up with a more healthy attitude towards relationships in general.
Right.
Seeing the love.
Right. The only time usually like when it's friction is when he's messing with both. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
you got to hide.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're not, if everything is good, like let's do this for the
Exactly.
kids. Let's show them how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
I believe that. Like
yeah. Me
like,
too.
So
Right.
and people thought it was weird, and I think it's weird that they think it's weird. I think it's weird that their exes don't get along. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like what the hell?
why? Yeah.
Right. So just like you said, maybe at first it probably wasn't like that.
Right.
But
Well, because I'm talking. They were only a few months apart.
I got
right.
I
So
already know.
Right.
I got the same thing.
we have. Okay. So you gotta. Of course, it's not going to be like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" No,
We both
pregnant. Right. So it was a little awkward at first. It's adjustment, but he would always have come to the house.
Yeah.
So even as a baby,
That's good.
So that's just what it was. Either I had to accept it or not. Right.
But you're a real woman, so you did.
Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
if you was mad at first.
Yeah, right.
because the babies don't have nothing to do with y'all.
Nothing at all.
Like that's why I don't understand, how are you mad at a child
Right.
for being born?
Right.
But I love all the children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I might not like your mama, but I still love you.
There you go. That's it.
But then as time goes by, like we cool. I have 2 baby daddies, but you know what I'm saying? My oldest one, like I'm cool with all the moms. You know what I'm saying? We get along. And then my grandbabies call the other one Mimi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's good.
Right.
And so I'm like, tell Mimi I said hi. You want to
Right.
Mimi's house? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like kids need all the love they can get.
Absolutely. Especially in this crazy world and all the things they've been through. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm all for it.
This is a little off the subject, but I have to mention it because today is March 25th. I think you might have saw that I posted that. So my middle son, Kamani, is the one that has kids. He has 4 kids.
Okay.
His youngest daughter, Avea, her mom died last year.
Oh, yes.
March
I do.
25th.
Yeah. Oh.
Today's a year
gosh,
anniversary.
yes. Yeah.
So her picture is over there. The big collage. Anyway, so Katina passed away a year ago. She was only 21.
Yes.
And my baby, she was 1, about to be 2. So her mom died March and her birthday's May.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
So when it first happened, of course, that triggered my son, Xavier, because
Yeah.
And then then she moved in. My son, her dad, Kamani, was living in Texas, and then when that happened, he had to come out here. He had to get her, and then they moved in here.
Okay.
So, but my youngest one, that triggered him seeing her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And knowing, what she's gonna deal with. Plus, on top of that, like, damn, she's not even gonna remember her mom.
Her mom, yeah.
Yeah. So that fucked me up too.
Yeah.
So last year, I thought I was having a heart attack. A couple weeks after it happened, I had to go to the ER. My shit was all out of whack because it was just like anxiety, just everything.
On top of,
first of all, she's 21.
Yeah.
My little baby don't have no mom.
No mom.
I know how it was for my son, but my son still had his mom.
Yeah.
But my little baby, grandbaby,
Yeah.
don't have her mom. Luckily, my son is a good dad. And, she adjusted, but it took her a couple months. It even took her a couple months to warm up to me fully.
Yeah.
And she was there when her mom had some, she overdosed. So she had something bad. I think it was probably laced.
Okay.
And so the baby was there.
thing, yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't, I was telling my son, we don't know what kind of trauma she has.
Right.
We don't know what she saw, what she might remember,
What she might remember.
what might trigger her later by
yeah.
hearing something, or, you know what I'm saying, or seeing
Right.
something. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you're healing from one thing, and then you think, okay,
Something
I'm
else
good.
happens.
Then something else happens. It slaps the shit out of you. And so that's why, like, leading up to this, like, this whole kind of week, I was kind of like, I wanted to do it. I'm happy that we're doing it. Not happy, but I feel like by talking about this, hopefully we can help somebody else going through the same thing.
Right.
And to let them know, the upside, our kids are healthy, our children.
You're going to get through it, but the getting through it part, that's hard.
Yeah.
You got to have support, and people who don't, I don't know how they do it.
I don't see how they I don't see how they do it. My family was a huge support. My family and my friends.
Yeah.
Huge, but one thing that I realized, a lot of people, of course, they don't want to talk about it all the time.
Right.
And so sometimes I need to talk about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need to be sad.
Yeah.
Because, before I wasn't. But I'm like, fuck this. I need to be sad.
Yeah.
I need to talk about I need to feel my feelings.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't doing that before.
Right.
And so, like, if I call you and I need to talk about this shit, can you just listen to me?
Yeah.
And don't try to make me laugh, because I don't want to laugh right now.
Right.
And then another thing I started noticing is when when the weather is bad, like when it's cloudy and stuff, it makes me get sad.
You get into your feelings, right?
And I never had that problem before.
Yeah.
Never. Because I know people always said that, like, oh, the suicide rate is high in Seattle. Yeah. But I was like, I don't trip on that.
Right.
Until you have some shit to trip on. Right.
Exactly. That's you sitting with your thoughts and like all the extra trauma that you have to go through or endure. Yeah, having that support system, and this is why I think also people that are going through it, go talk to somebody. Like, it doesn't have to be your friends. I mean, if you could talk to a therapist, I would say do it, because I do regret not doing it. And I know it's not too late.
It's not too late, yeah.
But now I got hella trauma. Right?
It's not too late
to unpack.
It's perfect. Now's the perfect time, girl.
Right, I know. So I do say that. I'm like, therapy. Go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with it.
And if you don't, like, say if you don't believe in therapy, don't want to do it, think it sucks, do this, like what we're doing.
Right.
Talk to somebody who's either been through it or somebody who hasn't been through it, or who's been through something similar.
Right.
Or like we said, like when I posted on social media, that's when people started like DMing me, letting me know. So some people I didn't even know, like, that their kid's father died or whatever, and they just showing me support and love. So I was like, oh man, that made me feel good. And then, like, if you make a comment or like Laria comments, I'm like, damn, I know they know what it feels like.
Right.
I know.
Yes, it's nothing like that. Like, you can have compassion for somebody, but unless you've been through the same thing, you really don't know how they feel. And that's the difference. That's why I think we connected, because we know, like, when you posted that, right, it was right. You know what I'm saying? I went back to that, like, I know exactly how that feels.
And then when I see when you post about your baby daddy or whatever, like if his birthday or something, or the anniversary or something, I think you posted, like, it's like it's like my heart just hurts for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Just you. Yeah. It's just a lot. And then people have to realize too that, okay, I love that person, right? Like you guys were in a relationship when it happened. I wasn't in a relationship when it happened. We were through, but I still loved him.
Right.
Like, I loved him enough to have a kid with him, and for me, that's big. That's big, right? Yeah. So the love didn't go away, even though I'm gonna make you think that it did. We had a deep connection. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even realize how deep it was until he was laying in the hospital bed.
Right.
That's when I really started feeling like, damn, you know what I'm saying?
You're sick.
Yeah, it was.
That's called sick to your stomach.
For 3 weeks, and then, like I said, I didn't feel like myself for like 10 months after.
Yeah.
It was just, I was floating.
Yeah, right. It was. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. That's what I felt, because a lot of times I can't remember a lot of things from at that time.
Don't remember shit.
Right? But I can remember in detail that night. Mm-hmm. But after that, even for a couple years, I don't really remember a lot of things. Because I don't know.
Trauma.
Yeah. Trauma response.
I looked it up too, right? Like, because anytime, like, when I'm like grieving, I know that, like, I have like brain fog. Like, I can't concentrate. Yeah. I don't remember shit. So, like, you might tell me something and I'm not going to remember
brain
it.
Fog,
we might do something. I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah.
I can't sleep. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep waking up, and then, because as soon as my brain is on, I can't go back to sleep, because now I'm thinking about everything.
Now you're thinking about it, yep.
And then, like you, how you have the images of what happened to your son's father. I was in the room when my son's father passed away.
Yeah.
And so I saw all his last moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kept replaying in my mind. And then this is a therapist wanted to do something. And I was like, hell no. I saw Get Out. They wanted to do hypnotherapy or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Where they try to make me forget it.
Oh.
I was like, I don't want to forget it because that was a moment. I have something else about death. So like, that was a moment that we shared, and I don't want to forget that. And if my son has questions, I want to make sure I can tell him all the things that I remember.
Right.
If he has questions about that.
Yeah.
Because I told my son, like, any question that you have for me, I'll tell you.
Yes. But
I'm not going to volunteer the information.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell him about volunteering the information till later. Because like I said, he was 8. And so when I was at the hospital when his father passed, and then I called my mother and told her, asked her, can she bring my son to the hospital? Mm-hmm. She was like, oh, I'm not dressed. Cause usually my mom is like, she's my sidekick. Yeah. I guess she was like, fuck, this is too fucking much. You know what I'm saying? She was like, Latifah will bring him. And Latifah, you know, my sister, Latifah is the scary one. Latifah's the one that like when I broke my leg, she always has a horror look on her face. I'm like, don't look at me, get away. Like, so I was like, but Latifah put her cape on that day. Latifah showed up. Latifah brought my son to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I remember like what I was wearing.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my son that his father passed away. And, you know, he hugged me, he was crying. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, do you want to see him? Because I wanted him to be able to see him now. Right. Because he looked peaceful and we had him presentable. Yeah. And my son had got him a teddy bear from Build-A-Bear for Father's Day. Oh, okay. And so we put that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it had the voice. It was like, happy Father's Day, Daddy. I love you. So, you know, we would play it. Oh, sorry. We would play it for Tony. And, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, look. So we knew that he was like, oh, okay. You know, he liked the bear, right? Yeah. So we put that. So when my son, you know, I wanted my son. But he said no. He didn't want to see him. And like we were at the room, you know, he's on this side of the curtain. And I was like, are you sure? I just had to make sure. I didn't want him to regret that. Are you sure? Right. Because like I said, he was there when my grandfather passed, so he knew, right? And so I was like, do you want to see your dad? And he said no. So I let him make that decision. Yeah. Okay. So then Latifah took him back home, and I was trying to wait for Nika. His niece was trying to come up there, but she was taking too long. I know she was too much. Like I don't. Yeah. She was like, I'm coming, Auntie, I'm coming. Yeah. But then I was like, I have to get home to my son, so I had to leave because usually like when somebody passed away, like I'm gonna sit there the whole time until they do everything that they got to do. I'm watching all that. Yeah. Because I'm making sure that you're treating my loved one right. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And so for me, that's how I am. But with that, I was like, I have to go to get to my son. To your son. I can't. Right. Tony, you good? You know what I'm saying? Like, because when he was, because they tried to resuscitate him for like 20 minutes. Okay. Because me and the niece was like, bring him back. Because it was like, do you think he want to live like this? Yes, motherfucker. What the fuck? He has 4 kids. What the fuck? Do you think? Yes. Exhaust yourself. But we were in the room, and then, you know, they're bringing all the equipment in and stuff, and they were like, oh, we need space. I'm like, shit, I'm in this corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm staying in the damn room. But then when more people came in, we had to go out in the hallway. We had to go out, yeah. And then, but that's when the surgeon came, the one who saved his life the first time, and she was talking to us, and she was like, because I was like, I was saying, he's gone. Yeah. And she was like, no, remember, he's my miracle baby. You know, so she was trying to say that, like, encouraging you. But I'm like, no, because I heard what they said about, was it about his breed? It was something I heard that they said. That you knew and at I was that like, point. Yeah, like, but she's like, no, like, you know what I'm saying? Because she's probably like, shit, he probably coded. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, like, so that the coding thing at the hospital, that gives me trauma. So I love watching Grey's Anatomy, you know, shows like that. But then when I hear that sometimes, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, right, yeah. I couldn't go back to North Bay for hell long. My aunt had a stroke after that. I couldn't go visit her. Yeah. Because I couldn't walk through those damn halls. The same doors. And I know what you mean. Especially because he was on the regular floor at that time. I couldn't do it for heck long. And then when I did, I was like. Yeah. Get anxiety. Yes, I was having anxiety so bad. Yeah. So little things will trigger me too. Like watching a movie. Right. And something happens similar. Right. As soon as you see that, you're like, oh, you know. Yes. So it's still a healing process. I think maybe for life. Yeah. Because how can you? That's not normal. Yeah. That's not supposed to happen. Right.
Exactly. So it's
gosh.
tough, and it's sad because even like after, so now that I'm, now that I have grandkids, I look at them and I'm like, this is so sad that he's not here. Even if we weren't together, but
Right.
even
He's not here physically.
yeah, to see and be with his grandkids.
But so do you believe in? Because I believe like in spirits and
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely.
So yeah, so they're here
Yes.
and they play with those kids.
Yes.
The kids know them.
Yeah.
They just don't know that they know them.
Right. It's just our own selfish
Right.
needs and wants. Like,
Right. No, of course it would be better in physical.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like my
Right.
mama, like.
Right. I know.
But yeah, it's just a lot. So.
It is.
And then you think about that stuff, like how would he have been as a grandfather? Like I know that he would have spoiled the kids, or you know what I'm saying, or what would they call him?
Right.
Just
You think about all that, and then sometimes you have to reality check.
Right.
I can't go sit in my feelings too
Right.
long. So I'll give myself that sad whatever moment or whatever, but I won't sit there too long, because you sit there too long, you might get stuck.
Yeah, you're gonna be depressed.
Can't.
Yeah,
You can't
and you still
live
gotta
like that.
Right. You still gotta live, and you still have to take care of the kids and the grandkids and stuff.
Yeah.
Kids saved me. Like my grandbaby was born the day before Tony died.
Oh wow.
And my son didn't want to go to the funeral.
Okay.
So my son came to the wake.
Okay.
And then he left. He was like,
Okay.
no. And so luckily his best friend parents, they were lifesavers. Mm-hmm. They took my son, because they brought their son with my son to support him, what I'm saying? And then when my son wanted to leave, they took him. They said, it's fine. Like, we got him. Yeah. So they took him to their house so we can deal with this.
Yes. Yeah.
And then at the funeral, he was with them because my son was like, I'm not, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was trying to encourage him, like, please, like, I just didn't want him to regret it. Like, are you sure? He was like, no, I'm not going. I still have not been back to the church. Mm-hmm. I've been back to the mortuary.
Yeah.
And actually, the funeral director taught my son how to play piano.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so my son didn't know that he was from the funeral home. I told him like last year or 2 years ago. I said, do you know where he was like, no. And then he was like, oh, because at first I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want him to associate playing the piano with his father passing, right? So I still can't go back to that church. I was supposed to go. My friend Travis, Travis, the twins.
Yeah.
So his son passed.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So his son had passed a couple years ago.
Travis and Terrence.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And so he was 17. I think he was 17. Cameron. We showed up. We went to his house and everything. My mom, everything, because we grew up with them.
Okay.
That's family. I was like, yeah, of course I'm coming to your funeral, the son's funeral, everything to support you. I didn't want to because kids' funeral is way worse. Like that's the worst.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it, but I was like, I'm gonna do it to show up for him.
Yeah.
And then I think the day before the funeral is when he told me that it was at that church.
Oh.
I don't know if that's when he told me or that's when I found out, but I had to call him and say, I can't go. I'm sorry. I love you. I want to, I want to support you. He said, oh no, I get it. Cause he knew Tony too.
Okay.
So, and they were friends. Okay. So he was absolutely
understood. Yeah.
So I was like, I will definitely be at the thing that they were having after. I'm coming to that. I cannot go to that church.
Wow.
But I was like, maybe I should just go to the church, like for a church session or like a wedding or something like that, or just go.
You go when you're ready.
But I couldn't do a funeral. I was like, especially a child's funeral. I'm like, I'm gonna be worse than them. Like,
right. And they're gonna be like, what?
Because it's your child that's here, and then I got my trauma too.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, it's not going to be helpful, right? I'm just going to be
a mess. And like, you okay?
Right, like,
consoling you.
Yeah, so I didn't want that, so I didn't go.
Yeah, there's like with Rico, he loved the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So I kind of, not that I don't like the holidays, but it takes me to that place. So I really don't like to celebrate the holidays heavy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like with my family and stuff. But he was like super, especially Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So I do it low key.
Right.
And if I feel like going to my family's house, I do.
Really?
But I mean, I do Christmas Eve always with the kids and everything and the grandkids. But yeah, it's so I'm still learning how to not get over that, but because he that was such a big thing for him. He loved the holidays so much. It's hard for me to, I guess, still celebrate it in that way because he's not able to do that.
It's just a lot. Like, we're affected so differently. I just remember after he got shot, I was scared, thinking whoever did this might come try to get me.
Oh, yeah.
Or my son.
Oh, yeah.
You thought that too?
Yeah, because we didn't know. We had no clue why or anything. Yeah. And as it goes on, you're like, could it be a friend walking amongst us? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, and even till this day.
Exactly.
Are we friends on Facebook?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Is this motherfucker liking my picture?
Right?
Crying faces.
You know, you don't know. So, yeah, it's all kind of things we got to deal with that people, little things, but
it's big.
It's big, right?
Big.
Yeah. And my kids, you know, like I feel bad for them, like not having even them to be able to call. They, you know, how you call your parent for advice or just to, you know, vent or whatever.
Right.
They don't have that. Right. So I mean, it's all me.
Right. And that's another thing, like the financial burden too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially because you had 2 babies and you were 21 and you guys live together, and then now everything's just on you. Yeah,
and I mean, him being older, he taught me how to, you know, pay PG&E. Like, he taught me how to be an adult, right? So I did have that, but yeah, I mean, I was not working.
Right. You know, you just had a baby. Yeah.
I wasn't working, and I was so young. I don't know what I was doing at the time, but yeah. So my whole world, when you talk about somebody's world being turned upside down, I'm talking upside down, inside out, like, you know. So I'm blessed that I was able to come out of that in my right mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still looking good.
Okay.
Because you don't look like a grandma, girl.
Thank you. Neither do you.
Thank
so
you,
you know,
I got all the great stuff. But like you said, the right mind and not, because, you know, a lot of people get strung out and can't come back from that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And because who wants to deal with this reality?
Yes, it's a harsh reality.
I'm so thankful. Like, I don't have a addictive personality or whatever, because I feel like if I did, I was like, okay, I get it. I see why people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Because
same.
It's so much.
Yeah. Yes.
It's so much.
Absolutely. You could see why somebody would want to divulge, you know, go into that
to numb.
Numb their pain or whatever. Yeah. Instead of dealing with it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a lot. Especially, like I said, like when it's your child and you can't do anything to console them or to help them.
Yeah.
Like, so it took my son a while to, he like every day he was, I miss my dad, I miss my dad, I miss my dad. Or he'll just come, he want a hug, or he'll just randomly cry, or especially like seeing my sister with her husband, you know, like my nieces and nephews have their dad. Yeah. So, like, you know, holidays were here, holidays were together and stuff. And then their dad is here, but his dad, you know what I'm saying? It was like a reminder that my dad's not here. My dad's not here. You know what I'm saying? And then we took family pictures one time with my dad, and that was another thing. I was like, I don't know how it feels because I have both my parents. Yeah. Like my mom and my dad. I'm old and I have both my parents. So I couldn't imagine being 8 and my dad getting killed. Right. And getting killed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So it's like, exactly. It's like I was like, I don't know how to help you. I don't know how you feel. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. And that's one thing that this taught me. Like, I don't have control over, because I try to have control over situations and everything. Yeah. And so God showed me you don't have control over everything. You can't control everything. No. And like I said, I always felt like anything that my children were going through, I can help them through it. Yeah. I mean, not help them, solve it. Yes. I couldn't solve this. Nope. I couldn't.
That's when you realize, like, you really don't have control.
Powerless.
You ain't got no,
Yes.
You don't.
So.
But I mean, we got through it. We're getting through it. It's still a process. Right. Like I said, but.
Yeah, because my son is 15 now, so it's been 7 years. That sounds crazy saying that, 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 27, and they still don't know who did it, and you know, it's just something that you deal with every day. There's not a day that goes by that you don't think about it. Right. And it's not even about like, oh, you know, still being in love with the person. It's just the trauma behind it. That's not a normal way to lose somebody.
And like thinking they didn't deserve this.
Right.
Like, why did they have to do it like that?
Yeah, exactly. So it's painful.
And then you witnessed it. Like you know what I'm saying? You saw the after.
Yeah.
And that was so when after seeing my son's father in the hospital, I don't know if I said his name, Anthony Gaines. I was like, how can anybody ever shoot somebody?
Yeah, right.
I was like, how I couldn't like it made me like I couldn't even do like seeing this. I could not. How could you do that?
Right. Exactly.
Like that is crazy.
Mm-hmm. You have that much power. You taking someone's life away. Yeah. But I used to work for this hospital, and so I would have to go to the morgue downstairs in the basement. And I used to be so scared. Yeah. And it was the pathologist who said, "You don't be afraid of dead people. Dead people are not the problem. It's the people alive."
Right.
Okay. And I was like, it didn't register to me at that time. So I was like, I don't know what you mean, but I don't want to go in here. But later on in life, I was like, he is absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's the people walking amongst us. And, you don't know, people be going through stuff, snapping and just anything.
It's sad.
It is.
And it's unfair.
Very. And it's unfair to the people left behind.
Yeah.
And that's what really hurts, is that we're the ones that have to pick up the pieces for our kids keep moving. Life, you have to. You got to keep going. Like
I said earlier, I put on 2/3/23, I wrote in this book that I wanted to interview Diane, right? And I didn't know how to say that to her. And then one day, a couple weeks ago, I'm in here and I was doing something, and then I look at my messages, because like I said, I don't have it on my phone, so I have to look on my computer or my tablet. So I'm on my iPad and I see that she messaged me. Say, what'd you message me
I
saying?
said you should think about doing something about the trauma behind losing a loved one, by murder.
Right.
And then you were like, what? You were like, girl, you're not going to believe this. And she just showed me. So it's in there. And my name is in there amongst other people. So she didn't just write it in at the very end. Right. But yeah.
So when I read that, I was like, first of all, pause. I was like, wait. I said, wait, did I had to go back in my messages. I was like, did I mention this to her before? I even went back on like one of a comment that you had made on my thing. I said, did I say like, oh, we should talk about it? And I did not. No. And it was a trip, because I always talk about, manifesting stuff and writing things down that you want to happen. Yeah. And it was so fast, like how quick, God told you to reach out to me. Right. Yeah. And so I was floored. I mean, I know it, right? I know it happens all the time and everything, but it's still just like, wow. Right.
And I didn't even say like, put me on there. I was just saying like, you should think about.
I thought you said we should talk about it.
No, I said you should think about doing that, because, so many people, right? So I was just like, because it's a healing process, and it'll help other people that are going through it or have gone through it. Yeah. So then when you were like, oh, yeah, you know what? You was already in my book. I was like, really?
Yes, it was a trip. I was really tripping. I had to call my sisters and say like, oh my God, it's a trip. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing with me is I didn't know how to approach someone and say, hey, do you want to talk about this terrible thing that happened to you? In front of, right now it's hundreds, but millions of people. That's right. Who will be, listening to your pain, like the worst day of your life. Do you want to come on here and talk about it? Right. So I didn't know how to frame it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when you said that, it was perfect. So I'm like, oh yeah, come on.
Right, exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. And that was February.
Yes. Yep. And then we're March. Right. See? Right. And so also, because I was thinking about, Philona, right? That was so our friend Philona, her only son her only child, her son was just killed July 14th. I know that date because that's when this anniversary of my other son's uncle, Troy, was murdered. So her son was murdered, and I was thinking, I said, man, I think Philona should like talk about it to help her deal with it, and to honor him. Yeah. Honor your son's name. Yeah. Let the world know about Imari. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Talk about Imari. Yeah. The good things, not only what happened to him, but the type of kid he was, the type of man that he was. Right. So then keeping his legacy going. You know what I'm saying? And to give her something to pour into.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Losing a child, my heart goes out to her.
Yeah.
I seen her. She did a podcast.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
I seen that, and I was just so heartbroken.
Girls crying.
That pain, I can't even. Yeah.
So since I saw her do the podcast, I said, I was thinking about it, but I didn't know who am I to tell her that she should do that, right?
Yeah.
So then after that, I talked to her because she sent it to me.
Okay.
And so I watched most of it, but I was like, oh, it was a lot,
Yeah.
you know. And so, but I was like, I called her and I told her, I said, I wanted to say that to you, but I said, who am I? She said, you're like, you could say that, you're my friend. I said, but still, like, I didn't lose a child, so you know what I'm saying. I don't know what could be healing for you or helpful for you, especially this soon. It hasn't even been a year for her. Yeah. And she already talked about it. Yeah. And so I really admired her for that because I know she's helping other people.
Oh, absolutely.
I know she's helping other people. So she's also going to come on here and we're going to talk too, because we want to talk about the good things, about her son. Yeah. And also the effects of how this is affecting her life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so her son is my cousin's brother. Oh, okay. So you know what I'm saying? Wow. Like it's deep. Like it's just a lot. It's a lot, but I feel like everybody doesn't feel like that. Talking about it and sharing your experience to try to help other people is healing.
It is. Yeah. But you got to get to that place. Some it could take years. Yeah. I mean, for me,
27.
Speaking, for myself, I mean, I've talked about it, but I don't really talk about it.
Right.
Because when you go there, you go there.
Right.
So, I'm just happy that you were open to actually talking about something. So, because it's painful.
It's painful.
Because it's painful for you too, mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted you to speak on something like this, because you can relate to it, and it comes from a place of love. Right. When people can relate to it, it's like, okay, you're going to be compassionate because you already know the pain. Right. Same with me. I'm going to be compassionate because I know your pain. Right. So what better person to do it than you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you too. Being right on board and coming over here and talking about it. Like I said, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to dig it up, you know what I'm saying? Because now it's on the front of your mind. Right. I couldn't really sleep last night just because I was just like, anxiety. And then I'm like, I don't want to be on here a blubbering fool.
Right. No, I was like, oh my God, I'll be crying. But no, I said, I'm going to keep it together because I just wanted to get it out, to help myself also continue to heal, because it's a continuous process. Yeah.
But even if we do cry, I mean, still it's okay. Like we are allowed to do that. Right. And I'm gonna put something at the beginning of the video to let people know it's a trigger warning, because I remember when I like hearing other stories. Like in my head, me and Taraji P. Henson were already friends, right? Okay. We were already friends, and then when I found out that her son's father had got killed. Mm-hmm. I knew. I was okay. We're bonded too by that. Yeah. But we're already friends. Like she knows my cousin, so we're already Taraji. We partners, and Mary J. Blige too. And I need to come talk to you on your show, Mary J. Blige. So you don't know me. You said you have everybody that you love on there, but just know that you love me too. And I think we're gonna go. I'm gonna shop in your closet for your boots. Anyway, in my mind, you wear a size 9. But no, Taraji P. Henson was on her show, and she was talking about when her son's father got stabbed. He got stabbed. And so I watched that, and just watching that, I think 3 days I was just sad and just, what I'm saying? But because I feel her pain and I know it, and it's just fucked up. So it is. So some stuff like I can't watch, how I can't watch somebody die. I'm not going to watch somebody die on social media. Yeah. Like, how people do that.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I can't watch that. No.
I'm not watching nobody die. Like, I've seen that. Yeah. I don't need to see it, you know what I'm saying, for pleasure or for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I will only do it if I'm investigating that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only reason why I need to see that. Because, like, too many of my family members were murdered. Like, I don't know if you know my cousin, Michelle Cassell. She got killed by the police in Phoenix, Arizona in 2014. So she was one of the ones in my family who got murdered in 2014. And so that's triggering because when I was 9, her brother was 21, my cousin Edward Cassell, he got killed.
Oh, wow.
The reason why she was in the mental state she was, because she was triggered because her mother and her sister, my cousin Lisa and Auntie Frances, they came out. They live in Phoenix, but they came out to California because the guy who was guilty of killing her brother, he had a parole hearing. So they came out here for that. All those years later, they came out here for that. And so that set her off. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember, I was 9 years old when he died. I remember the funeral. I just wondered, how do you think your kid's life would have been different if their father was still here?
Yeah, I think about that all the time. And I don't really know, but I imagine, that him, because he loved his kids, he was a very present father to all three of his children. So I imagine that, he'd be like a coach and, really into doing all that stuff with his sons and then, same for his daughter. Right. So and being a grandparent, he was a very family oriented, present parent. Right. So I imagine he would have been that throughout their lives, and maybe they wouldn't have made some of the choices they made, especially my son, my oldest son. Yeah. He had that presence, the fatherly presence that he could go to. Man, talking about man things. Because we can't raise men, no matter what.
We do it, but
we can't. We ain't men, though. You know what I mean? So having that father and son relationship, especially when you're a teenager, because that's when the shift happens. Yeah, that's when I noticed my son. So if he had that, things would have been different. I don't know. Yeah. I imagine things, and I have my little fairy tale mind. But
that's, to me, that's like comforting. Yeah, as long as it's happy thoughts.
Yeah, it's comforting, and it's also painful.
Yeah, it is painful. Yeah. But like you said, we're getting through it. Our children are healthy, and they're in the right state of mind. Yes, and so they're being productive members of society. So that's a good thing, So we are blessed. Yes. And since this happened, I wanted to start some kind of support group to get together so we can talk about this stuff. Yeah. Because there's so many of us going through the same thing. And then my oldest son had suggested that I make it like a nonprofit organization. Oh, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. Oh, yes. And so that's like my next project that I want to work on. Oh, a nonprofit organization, nice. Beautiful. Supporting people who lose their loved ones to violence. Yeah. But not only violence, drug use, cancer, illness too. But try to be supportive for them, and then also provide support when they go to court dates and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And try to help with the grieving process, the parent not being there no more. So help support the children. Right. And have some counselors to, give counseling. And also, help out financially, gifts and stuff like that. The things that they're missing out on because that parent is gone. It's gone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I know I could have used that help. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because things were tight. Like when my son started growing shoes. Yeah. Big old. Did you see my son? Yeah. So his dad was only 5'9". And my son is 6'2". Yeah. And he wears a size 13 shoe. And so
he's not done growing.
He's 15.
He's only 15. So
that could have helped me. If somebody would have gave, extra gifts or something, because his dad used to, for every holiday, like I said, he would have the cake with his picture on it. You know what I'm saying? For Valentine's Day or something. Right. You know what I'm saying? He was just like that all the time, always giving, and spoiling him. And so when he left, that left too. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I try to do stuff, but I'm trying to, I have 3 kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, even though the other ones are grown, but still
it's hard.
Yeah. And my finances are not like that, you know what I'm saying? To where I can try to do extra.
Yeah. Nobody talks about the day-to-day stuff that you have to maintain when that other parent is gone. I mean, I had 2 in diapers, still. So just picking up the pieces to just keep buying diapers, wipes, formula, getting them ready for school. Right. And I think that was hard for me, is the whole first everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, first day of preschool, first day of kindergarten, graduation. Him not being there, that's rough. Because you can't help but miss that presence, no matter how long it's been.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Because I was like, even if, I know he'll be getting on my nerves, but still, you know what I'm saying? He'll be loud there, cheering my son, all the stuff, embarrassing him, all the stuff, or my son will be happy, Yeah.
It's different. Yeah. It's a a hole in their hearts and our hearts that just will never be filled.
Right.
So.
I just wish people would think twice before you take somebody's life. Like, you're mad at them, you hate them, you want them to pay, but it's really us that are the ones who are paying. You know what I'm saying? We're the ones who are suffering.
Right. They're not suffering.
Right. They're free.
It's
us.
The people left behind. So, take somebody's life away. You not just taking their life away, you taking part of our lives away too. And that's what it is. Our kids' lives forever altered. His mom, his dad, their whole family forever altered.
Right.
Never ever gonna be the same.
Can't wake up from a nightmare.
No.
That was another thing. Like when it first happened, like I would go to sleep and then I wake up and I was like, shit, this really happened.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
This shit really happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you're asleep, it's like, okay, everything is good. And
Like I'm living.
That would be like the first thing, like, he really just died. Like, oh, wow. Right. You know, it's crazy. Like, he's not going to call me no more. Like, bugging the mess out of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
And I think that's why my daughter and I, we weren't that close in the beginning when she was a baby, because her birth reminded me so much. She was born New Year's Eve, December 31st. He died January 13th. So it's so close but now we're good.
Yeah.
We're in a good place. But when she was a baby, it was hard for me to bond.
Yeah, how could you?
Yeah.
How could you?
You're either grieving, you're going through postpartum. What are you doing?
Right.
Your body's just like crazy. Hormones, crazy, right? Yeah. So, but I got through it, and we're thank God we're in a good place. She's good. You know, they're happy, healthy individuals.
Right.
And that's what I think. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because that's what, like I said, I was afraid of that. I didn't want my son to be an angry teenager, angry person. Right now, he's happy. Like, ever since he went to high school, like, he's been happy. He's social. He's like his dad. He's social. He likes to be around people.
Yeah.
So, like, the pandemic was horrible.
Yeah,
he was isolated.
right.
And then my mom was sick, too, and then she passed during the pandemic. So, dealing with all that shit. So, when he was able to go to high school, that's when he started smiling again. I said, okay, my baby is happy now. You know what I'm saying? It took a long time, though.
Right.
But he's happy right now, so I'm happy with that, as long as he's happy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and any questions he has for me, I'll answer the questions, but I don't volunteer any extra information. Yeah. Yeah. Because I still think it's too much. Like I said, it's too much for adults, so for the kids.
Right.
Okay, so we've gave you enough, you guys.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any words of encouragement that you want to give Diane or myself? Please leave them below, or if you want to share your story or drop your loved one's name underneath this video, please do so we can lift them and you in prayer. Yes. And for anybody who has had to go through this, I feel for you and I pray for you. And I know people who's been through it more than once. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is just hard, but hopefully, like we were saying, this video can help somebody, help you guys know that one day it will be okay. You still will be able to function. You still will be able to do new things, find joy, have other relationships.
Absolutely.
Things like that. Yep. And so, but before we go, two things. One, I always ask my guest if they have any question that they want to ask me, and it can be anything. So do you have a question that you would like to ask me?
Yeah, sure. How do you think moving forward, what you plan on doing to help your son and yourself keep, healing from your trauma? So hopefully my son will go back to counseling. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. And then, like I said, the nonprofit organization that I want to start, I feel like that will be huge. I feel like that will be, it's going to be traumatic and emotional. Yeah. But I also feel like it will be healing. And I pray that my son, once he wants to talk, can talk to other kids going through it, or just listen to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he has that empathy for people, and he kind of gravitates towards other friends who lost their parents. You know what I'm saying? So, but they don't really talk about it. Yeah. But they're around each other. Right. But they can't talk about it because it's too hard. Yeah. But I just want him to be able to express his feelings. Healthy. I mean, we're traveling. That's what we do. So the traveling, traveling is therapy for me. So me and my son hop on the plane several times a year, and we're out.
And sometimes like he was like collecting sand from different places that we went to.
Nice.
And would like make stuff for his dad or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just try to do stuff like that to make him, always remember him and try to feel close, even though like he's getting older, so some of the memories might start fading.
Yeah.
So
yeah, keeping his memory alive. I mean,
yeah.
I always throw in there when my oldest son was playing basketball, there would be like men that went to school with Rico, coaches that would go up to my son and be like, "Is your dad?" Yeah. You know what I mean? So it would be a trip because now here he is, a teenager, and he doesn't remember too much of his dad. Yeah. But then to have someone, a complete stranger, see that, it means a lot. Right. And he was like, he's all happy about it.
Right.
Like, that coach over there just came up to me and was like, "Is Rico your father?" Right. So
he looks like him.
It's a trip.
Yeah.
So keeping their memory, their name alive.
Yeah, my son likes when he meets somebody that we know that knows his dad, and they like tell him a story or something like that. Or sometimes like they send pictures. Like Valika one time, she found a picture. Or my friend D-Ray, Travis, like other people. My sisters, whatever, they might find a picture from back in the day. Even like pictures that we haven't seen. And send it. And so then my son likes that because then he gets to see his father like when he was 17, 18, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my kids love that. They'll see pictures of when I was, young with their father. Yeah. And they'll be like, "Mom, look at you," because they didn't see that growing up. Right. They didn't see us together.
Right. So, right.
Yeah, just to have that, and that's why I would say treasure your pictures that you take. Right. One day you're not going to be here, and that's all that's going to be left of you.
Right. Pictures, recordings, even voice messages. Save those. Your mamas and daddies, when they call you, answer the phone. Talk to them. Listen to them. Listen to those same stories 20 times. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because time is short, and we don't know how much we have.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I really appreciate you. And subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already done so. Comment and share with anybody that you know who's dealing with grief or loss, or especially from violence, and if they lost their, the other parent of their child, then they can listen to this and hopefully feel like they're not alone and they can get through it. We're just going to end it like that because this is heavy. All right, everybody. So thank you for watching, and I'm wishing you peace, love, and light. Bye.